Hi everyone, my name is Stas and today I'm going to tell you about the plot of the 2022 film titled Fall, which tells the story of beautiful girls stranded at a great height without food and water.
Just focus on getting a good shot. I didn't wear this stupid bra for nothing.
No. The plot of the film begins with several climbers trying to scale a dangerous peak. Suddenly one of them, named Dan, falls down right in front of Beckley and Sheila. A little over a year passes after that. Beckley is still struggling deeply with the loss of Dan and often thinks about him. After a while, her father named James visits her and tries to convey that life doesn't end with this tragedy. Beckley refuses to take his father's advice and shows his irritation. Feeling hopeless, the girl reaches for some pills, but just before another tragedy strikes, Sheila manages to distract her. She suggests that her friend climb one of the tallest TV towers, where they can scatter Dan's ashes together, thus honoring his memory. Beckley decides that it's a great idea, and after that, the friends begin their journey. She suggests to her friend to climb one of the tallest TV towers, where they can scatter Dan's ashes together, thus honoring his memory. Beckley decides that it's a great idea, and then the friends begin their journey. As evening falls, the girls make a stop at a roadside diner to grab a bite to eat. Sheila adds that by conquering this TV tower, they could make a very popular video that would help with their media presence. She also adds that the site they are heading to has been abandoned for a long time and will soon be demolished. The next morning, Sheila starts a video diary. In the first episode, she talks about the dimensions of the tower, which stands at 600 meters tall. As they approach the tower, the friends realize that they won't be able to drive all the way to the end, so they decide to walk to their destination. Expecting an easy walk, the girls only brought a little water. Their climbing plan is quite simple. First, they need to climb 550 meters inside the steel frame, and then another 60 meters up the external staircase, and at the end there will be a small platform. Beckley, realizing the danger, asks to abandon the crazy idea, but Sheila manages to convince her friend otherwise. Soon the girls begin their ascent. A couple of minutes later, the climbers realize that the structure is unstable and that all the fittings could break at any moment. Their fears are confirmed by the rusty railing that broke under Beckley's weight. The girl miraculously manages to grab hold and stay alive. Gathering themselves, the girls continued on their way, taking just a short break. A little more time passes and the friends celebrate reaching the halfway point. From this height, it was already possible to see everything around. As soon as the girls completed the first part of the climb and needed to move onto the external ladder, Beckley starts to fear heights. Sheila kept climbing. Her friend's confidence gives Beckley strength, and she, pushing aside her fear, continues to climb up. The girls continue their ascent at a steady pace. After a while, they encounter a new problem. The climbers come across a group of satellite antennas. Having figured out how to get around them, the climb continues. Thinking their path is too easy, she decides to scare her friend a little and starts shaking the ladder. Her actions loosen several bolts, which soon fall down. The girls don't notice this, and just a few minutes later find themselves on the platform at the very top of the tower.
Oh my god. You did it next. I think you're right.
After filming some extreme videos, Beckley is able to disperse Dan's ashes with peace of mind. Feeling accomplished, the girls head back down, thinking it's easier than the ascent, but weakened bolts make the ladder crumble. Beckley falls but clings to the rope. Since a couple of bolts had weakened the ladder's structure earlier, the girls immediately find that their way down is simply crumbling to pieces. Beckley falls down but hangs on the rope. At the last moment, Sheila manages to grab onto the spire and save her friend from certain death. After putting in a tremendous amount of effort, she struggles to pull Beckley back onto the platform. Once they calm down, the climbers start to think about what to do next. Two of the most important questions arise in their minds: how to get down or how to call for help. Checking their phones, they realize that there is no cell signal here at all. After inspecting the platform, they find binoculars and a flare. As they continue to assess the situation, the girls also realize that the backpack with their supplies ended up on the antennas.
Oh man, our water's in there. Shit, we're gonna die of thirst. No.
And Beckley, having fallen from the ladder, injured her leg. Sheila first helps her friend, and then decides to lighten the mood by recording a few more videos about what happened to them. Assuming that they will be found sooner or later, girls calm down and start looking around the area with the binoculars. Besides the abandoned van, the girls can't find any other interesting or useful things. About 5 hours pass. The phone signal still hasn't come back. As soon as Sheila checks her social media, she notices that the number of likes on her latest videos has changed. They assume that the signal on their phones was there, but at a lower altitude. The girls decide to test their guess using the phone and a rope. After recording a message asking for help, they tied the phone with a rope and lowered it down 15 meters. Unfortunately, they didn't get any successful results. Then Beckley comes up with a new idea: to stuff the phone into a shoe and throw it down. The chances of sending a message are much higher, but whether it will work or not, they won't be able to find out. While continuing to scan the area with binoculars, the friends spot a man with a dog, as well as their phone, which didn't survive the fall from such a height. Using her remaining shoe, Beckley tries to get the man's attention, but she doesn't succeed. After sunset, the girls took out a signal rocket and launched it against the dark sky. The signal attracts people's attention, but instead of helping, they find the girls' car and just steal it. Night falls. Trying not to fall asleep, Beckley starts asking Sheila about the tattoo on her leg. Sheila admits that this code is dedicated to her relationship with Dan, which she started behind her friend's back.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
For sleeping with my husband or me finding out about it.
The next morning, the girls continue to sort things out. At this point, a whole day has passed and there's still no help. Realizing that they need to keep trying to reach someone who can help them, they remember that there's a drone in the backpack. It's a dangerous idea, but they have no other options. We need to take the risk and go down. Sheila decides to give it a try and makes her way to the right spot quite easily. Sheila immediately starts her descent, quickly reaching the antennas. The girl is about a meter short of reaching the backpack. Sheila, after removing the mount, jumps to the bag and ends up in the right spot. After drinking some water, the girl decides to go back up, but the rope is more than a meter away. Sheila comes up with the idea of using a selfie stick to hook the rope and jump across the chasm. Just a couple of meters from the top, the girl accidentally slips but manages to grab on. Injuring her hands, she has to rely on Beckley's help. The girl up top pulls her friend back up. Next, she decides to check another idea for their rescue. Beckley writes a message on the back of the check and then attaches it to the drone. The drone is sent to the nearest motel, but by that time, the battery of the flying device was almost dead, so it returned to its owner. The next night arrives. Beckley, waking up, discovers that Sheila is missing, but later it turns out that it was just a regular nightmare. In the morning, the girl comes up with another idea: to climb the spire to the very top where the signal lamp is located. Next to it, they can find a power source that the girls can use to charge the drone. Beckley climbs to the very top, but the contacts are too deep. Beckley takes off her ring and uses it as a spacer between the contacts and the chargers. Just a second later, the drone started charging. All that's left is to wait a little longer, and the chances of rescue will increase significantly. Suddenly, a large predatory bird attacks Beckley, knocking her off balance and causing her to drop her backpack. The backpack flies past the platform and heads straight for the ground. Sheila, seeing the bag fly by, didn't even try to catch it. By this point, the drone was already charged more than halfway. The girls decide to wait for breakfast time so that more people will be at the motel. When the right time comes, they send the drone, which calmly flies to the designated spot. Suddenly, just a few meters from the building, the aircraft collides with a truck. The driver, scared of the responsibility, gets back behind the wheel and simply drives away from the scene of the minor accident. The girl falls into despair, as the drone was their last hope for rescue. As evening falls, a storm can be seen approaching on the horizon. Beckley, feeling the hopelessness of the situation, begins to realize that she is seeing hallucinations. Sheila has actually been dead for a long time. When she fell, she couldn't catch the roses and crashed. After that moment, Beckley did everything herself. I was getting the backpack, climbing up, and charging the drone. A few minutes later, Beckley comes to terms with her fate and just watches a video of her father. At the same time, James is trying to find his daughter. The next day arrives. After a short rest, the girl decides to pretend to be dead and lure Griff to her. The trap works perfectly, and the girl has a quite edible catch in her hands. Gathering her strength, Beckley decides to go down to Sheila's body and use another shoe with a message. This time she places it inside her friend's body, after which she sends her on her final flight. The next evening, James heads to the tower, where all the rescue service representatives have already gathered. Before his eyes, they close the body bag. The man suspects that it was his daughter, but as it turns out, Beckley was saved after all. After that, we see the moment of the emotional reunion between the father and daughter. The film titled Fall turned out to be quite a good thriller that keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. An interesting plot twist, along with great acting, will keep you entertained. This is also confirmed by a decent rating from viewers. It's far from the best movie in history, but it definitely deserves your attention. At the time of this recap, the film has a rating of 6.4 on IMDb. How would you rate this film? Be sure to let us know in the comments. That brings us to the end of our video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you found it interesting, then definitely support this video with a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes. Well, this was Stars, who is already preparing a new recap for you. Stay healthy, watch only good movies, and play only good games. Good luck to everyone, and goodbye.